Inspiration is a reciprocal process. When we inspire others, we simultaneously draw inspiration ourselves. It's an incredible cycle, one that's not always easy to wrap our finite minds around. This thing called human emotion and spirit is so powerful that these experiences occur in tandem. As we inspire, we are inspired. It's like a two-way street where traffic never stops, moving back and forth in perfect harmony. The same principle applies when we teach. By teaching, we learn. It's as if the act of teaching opens a doorway, not just for our students, but for us as well. Sometimes we learn what not to say because it didn't land quite right. And that's okay, that's learning in action. You make a mental note, I thought that was clever, but maybe I'll leave it out next time. This simultaneous learning while teaching is a profound experience. It's a reminder that teaching isn't a one-way broadcast, but an active dialogue where both parties grow. This principle extends to wealth as well. We build wealth by creating it for others. When we help others achieve financial success, we find it flowing into our own lives. It's not just about the money, it's about the spirit, the energy, the connections we make. It's in our words, our actions, our enthusiasm. As we pour out, the universe finds ways to fill us back up. And often this happens in real time. It's an immediate feedback loop of abundance. And isn't that one of the most exhilarating experiences of life? To create and simultaneously receive? To be on the giving end and yet find yourself receiving tenfold? It's a rush that money alone can't buy, a fulfillment that transcends the mere accumulation of wealth. Next is change. By inspiring change in others, we ignite change within ourselves. As we guide others to shift their thinking, their actions, their plans, we can't help but reflect on our own. Sometimes in the process of helping someone else pivot, we find ourselves turning the wheel too. We decide to refine our own approach, to adjust our path, to grow right alongside them. That's the beauty of mutual transformation. It's like being a sculptor. While you're chiseling away at someone else's rough edges, you find that your own form is taking shape as well. And that's powerful. It's not just about teaching others to change. It's about being open to the lessons that teaching imparts on us. We evolve in the process of helping others evolve. And progress, that's no different. We progress by fostering progress in others. We cheer them on, we mentor them, we watch them grow, and as we do, we can't help but grow ourselves. The victories we help others achieve become our own. It's a shared celebration, a collective rise. When you help someone hit their milestones, you're hitting yours too. Think of Mark Hughes, for instance. His focus wasn't on tallying up his own wins. It was on investing in others. He poured his time, energy, and ideas into his early distributors, and by doing so, his own success skyrocketed. He didn't have to obsess over his gains, they came naturally as a result of his giving. As he sowed into others, he reaped abundantly. And finally, happiness. We generate happiness by creating it in others. When we celebrate someone's achievements, pin that award on their lapel and tell them, you made it. Their joy becomes our joy. It's not just about their journey. It's about the shared moment of triumph, the acknowledgement that hard work pays off. And in that shared joy, our own happiness multiplies. We see by helping others to see. We create a vision for others, and in turn, our own vision sharpens. As we guide others to see a future, our own path becomes clearer. It's all connected, this beautiful cycle of giving and receiving. By expanding someone else's horizon, our own horizon expands. This is the rhythm of life. Inspiring, teaching, giving, changing, progressing, and growing. Each act of generosity plants seeds that bear fruit, not just in the lives of others, but in our own as well. It's a reminder that we're all in this together, moving forward hand in hand. Each of us contributing to a collective journey that's richer, fuller, and infinitely more rewarding because we're not going it alone. And now with that in our mind, let's go through the 5 sources of inspiration. And here's the first one, deciding. If you just make a decision, it can be sometimes the day that starts you on a brand new journey. The simple act of making a decision can set you on a path you've never imagined. You see, decisions are like the steering wheel of your life. You grab hold, you turn, and suddenly your entire direction changes. Now, not every decision is monumental. Some are small, everyday choices that blend into the rhythm of life. But every now and then you come across a decision that carries weight. One that's been sitting on your mind, a decision you've delayed, maybe even dodged for far too long. And then there comes a day, a defining moment when you say enough is enough. You finally draw the line and declare, today is the day I decide. That decision might be about shifting your direction, refining your philosophy, or taking action on something that's been idling in your thoughts. It might be deciding to change a habit, start a new venture, or let go of what's holding you back. Whatever it is, deciding is a powerful act. It's the moment when you take control and say, this is where my story changes. And let me tell you, that moment of decision can be just as exhilarating as the day you reach your goal. Think about it. You've had this decision weighing on you, a monkey on your back, a barrier to your progress. But then you decide, you cut through the excuses, the doubts, the fears, and you just decide. Suddenly, the world looks different. The sky seems a little bluer, the air feels a little crisper, and you're filled with a new sense of clarity. Your mind is ready, and the adrenaline kicks in. Things start moving because you've started moving. That's the incredible power of decision-making. But let's not kid ourselves, deciding is only the first step. It's like striking a match. It creates a spark, but you've got to fan the flame. If you decide and then fail to act, that burst of inspiration fades away and you're back where you started. Decision without action is like a promise never kept. It's potential that fizzles out, a dream that never gets off the ground. So yes, deciding can be one of the most inspiring moments of your life, but it's not the finish line, it's the starting gun. You've got to follow through. Here's what I'd suggest. Grab your journal, sit down, and ask yourself, what have I been putting off? What decisions am I avoiding that are costing me in my health, my finances, my relationships, or my personal growth? Maybe it's a tough conversation you've been dodging, a financial plan you've neglected, or a health goal you've pushed aside. Write it down, face it head on, and make the decision to act. I promise you, once you start crossing off those decisions, you'll feel a surge of inspiration and momentum. Those will be the days you look back on as pivotal moments, days when you took the reins of your life and steered it toward a better future. Remember, indecision is the thief of opportunity. It's the closed door that keeps you stuck. Indecision means what could be will never be if you don't act. It's the weight that holds you down, the invisible chain that keeps you in place. Sure, some decisions require careful thought. We can't rush every choice. But at some point, the cost of hesitation becomes too high. You have to recognize that delay is a decision in itself, a decision to stay stuck. So if you're looking for inspiration, if you want to reignite that fire in your life, start with a decision. Decide to move forward. Decide to take that first step and watch how your world begins to change. Because that's what deciding really is. It's the first step in a journey of transformation. And that, my friends, is where the real inspiration lies. So one source of inspiration, deciding. Here's the second sources of inspiration, and that is planning. So you've made the decision and you've taken that crucial first step. Now what? Well, the next thing to do is to start making plans. And let me tell you, there's something truly magical about seeing what's been swirling around in your imagination finally take form on paper. It's like bringing your dreams to life, one line, one idea, one goal at a time. This is where the real excitement begins. I remember when I was just 25 years old and I first heard about network marketing. I was intrigued by the stories. People from all walks of life finding success, building wealth, and transforming their futures. The idea that you could start from scratch and make something of yourself resonated deeply with me. But the real turning point wasn't just hearing those testimonials. No, the real spark happened when I decided, yes, I'm going to be a part of this. I'm going to make this a cornerstone of my future. But it wasn't just the decision that got me fired up. What really got my juices flowing was when I sat down and started putting pen to paper. I began committing my imagination and belief to those pages, sketching out plans, drawing those famous circles, mapping out what my future could look like. What if I had 5? What if I had 10? Those were the questions I started asking myself. I wasn't just dreaming anymore. I was strategizing. I was plotting my path forward, one connection at a time. I remember those early days so vividly, as if they were just yesterday. The ideas were fresh, the dreams were big, and the plans were taking shape right before my eyes. I had a clear vision of what I wanted, and the moment I started laying it all out, I felt a rush of inspiration like nothing else. That's the power of planning. It's like turning on the headlights in the dark. Suddenly, the road ahead doesn't look so daunting. The vision that seemed like just a fleeting thought was now tangible, something I could hold on to. I wasn't just a spectator anymore. I was in the driver's seat, charting my own course. But here's the catch. Plans alone are just the beginning. They're a tremendous source of inspiration, no doubt about it. The act of planning gives you a sense of control, a sense of purpose. You can map out every detail, create a blueprint for your success, and for a while that keeps you motivated. You wake up each day eager to add to your plans, tweak them, refine them. You feel like a sculptor chipping away at a masterpiece, slowly but surely revealing something magnificent. However, planning has its limits. You can draft plans today, revise them tomorrow, and come up with new strategies the next day. But if all you do is plan, that initial spark of inspiration will start to fade. Plans are like fuel. They ignite the engine, but eventually, if you're not moving forward, that fuel runs out. You can't live off of plans alone. They're a fantastic starting point, but they're just that, a start. The inspiration you get from planning is potent, but it's temporary. It won't carry you through the week, let alone the long haul. So what's the next step? Action. Implementation. You've got to take those plans and turn them into reality. Because while a plan can inspire you in the moment, only action can sustain that inspiration. It's the execution of the plan, the daily grind, the commitment to take those steps you've mapped out. That's where the real transformation happens. It's the follow-through that turns a dream into an achievement, a goal into a milestone. Don't just be a dreamer. Be a doer. Don't let your plans gather dust. Turn them into something you can look back on and say, I didn't just think about it, I did it. That's when the real magic happens. That's when inspiration doesn't just visit you, live it, day in and day out. And that, my friends, is where true success lies. I'm sure we would all agree that making plans, that inspiration wouldn't last for a week. And now here's the third sources of inspiration, beginning. Actually turning thought and the notes on the paper, the plans, actually now committing it to action. Getting started. Starting something new can be one of the most potent sources of inspiration you'll ever experience. Imagine what you can say when you decide to make a change in your diet, for example. Suddenly you can declare, I'm on a new path. I've carved out a fresh start for myself. I'm on my way to achieving the best health of my life. I'm leaving the old, undisciplined version of myself behind, and I'm becoming a new person. Think about it. The first shake you drink, the first supplements you take, that first walk around the block, these are not just small steps. They're powerful beginnings. Maybe you've been thinking about making these changes for months, maybe even years. But today you did it. You started. And that's monumental, because beginning isn't just about taking a step. It's about shifting your entire mindset. It's telling yourself, I'm no longer who I was. I'm on a journey and there's no going back. That, my friends, is an incredible source of inspiration. There's something transformative about starting. It doesn't just lift your spirit. It elevates your entire sense of self. Your self-esteem gets a boost, your confidence starts to build, and suddenly you feel unstoppable. And many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've felt that rush before, the thrill of embarking on something new. But here's my challenge to you. Start something new in every area of your life. Don't just stop with one change. Let the power of beginning infuse every aspect of your world. Have you ever thought about being more charitable but never quite got around to it? Maybe you've been imagining how good it would feel to give back, to make a difference, but you've hesitated. I'm urging you to take that imagination, that powerful, inspiring force, and use it. Decide to act. Turn those thoughts into plans. Begin laying the groundwork. Because as long as it's just an idea, it's only potential. But when you decide, when you plan, and when you take that first step, that's when the magic happens. And let's not forget that beginning is just the start of an incredible journey. Think about someone like Mark Hughes. When he had his first meeting, recruited his first distributor, or sold his first product maybe just to his grandmother. It was the beginning of something great. It didn't matter that he started out of the trunk of his car with simple, even crude materials. The key was that he started. And from that humble beginning grew an empire. That's the power of getting started. And starting can take many forms. Maybe you're committing to a new habit of learning. You might say, I'm going to build a library that's second to none. And so you buy the first book. That first purchase isn't just a book, it's a statement. It's a declaration of your commitment to growth, to surrounding yourself with knowledge and inspiration. You've cleared a space in your home, and now you've taken that first step. You've started. And that book is just the beginning. It's the first of many. It's the spark that ignites a whole flow of new information and learning. Or perhaps you've been wanting to learn a new skill. Maybe it's something like accounting or public speaking. So you sign up for a class. Now, it's not just a thought anymore. You're sitting in the classroom, pen in hand, notebook open, ready to learn. You've set aside the time, you've made the plans, but the real excitement comes when you're there, taking that first step. Here I am. You say to yourself, I'm starting on a new journey. That's the incredible thing about beginnings. They're filled with potential and promise. Each new start is a chance to redefine who you are and what you're capable of. And every time you start something new, you open the door to transformation. It's not just about the action itself. It's about the message you're sending to yourself. You're saying, I'm capable of more. I'm not stuck. I'm evolving. So whatever it is you've been contemplating, whether it's a new fitness routine, a business venture, a learning pursuit, or even just the simple act of giving back, don't just think about it. Start. Begin. Take that first step and let the momentum build. Because beginnings, my friends, are the launch pad to everything else. They're the first brushstrokes on the canvas of your new life. And that's where the real inspiration lies. Now, here's the fourth one of the great sources of inspiration, and that is progressing. Once you've gotten started, the next step is to keep moving forward. Progress is the name of the game now. You're not just showing up to the class the second week and then the third. You're immersing yourself in the process. You're not just marking days on the calendar. You're advancing in knowledge, skills, and insights you never had before. And that's where the real excitement lies. Progress. It's like fuel to the fire of your ambition. One of the greatest sources of inspiration is progress, because progress is proof. It's the validation that what you're doing is working, that your efforts are paying off. Imagine you start jogging around the block. At first, it's tough. Your legs feel heavy, your breath is short. But then something amazing happens. You go from 1 block to 2, then 3, and before you know it, you're circling the block 5 times with ease. You start to notice the change. You're breathing easier, your stamina is improving, and you're not winded going up that flight of stairs anymore. It suddenly hits you. You're making progress, and it feels incredible. And if weight loss is your goal, it's the same principle. You don't have to wait to lose 50 pounds to feel inspired. That first pound, those first 2 or 3 pounds, they are milestones. They are proof that your new habits are taking root. You don't need to wait for the grand finale to celebrate. Every step forward is worth acknowledging. You start to feel lighter, not just in body, but in spirit. You've got more oxygen in your lungs, more pep in your step, and it doesn't take long to realize I'm making progress. That's a powerful motivator. The same goes for your business or any personal development. Maybe you've been too shy to speak up or connect with new people. But one day you decide, enough is enough. I'm done letting shyness hold me back. You make the decision, you lay out your plan, and you take that first step. At first, it's awkward. Maybe your voice shakes a little. But here's the thing, it doesn't take years to see progress. It doesn't even take months. I promise you, even within days or weeks, you'll notice the change. You introduce yourself to that first person, then the second, and before long, you've built the confidence to talk to 10, then 50, and eventually 100. With each conversation, your confidence grows, your self-esteem skyrockets, and your new skills begin to shine. You're not just overcoming shyness, you're rewriting the script of who you are. And suddenly, the idea of going back to the way things were isn't even an option. You're progressing, you're evolving, and that's one of the most inspiring things you can experience. Because here's the truth. Progress isn't just about the end result. It's about the journey. It's about recognizing that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. It's the understanding that each little bit of progress is compounding, building up to something far greater than you imagined. And it's knowing that with every stride you take, you're not just getting closer to your goals, you're becoming the person capable of achieving them. Remember, progress is not just linear. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But even those setbacks are part of the journey. They're lessons, opportunities to adjust and refine your approach. And that's still progress. You're moving forward, learning, adapting, and growing. You're becoming better equipped for the challenges ahead. So keep moving, keep progressing. Because every time you advance, you're not just moving towards your goals, you're evolving, expanding, and becoming more of who you were meant to be. And that, my friends, is the true power of progress. It's not just about reaching the destination, it's about who you become along the way. And that journey, that continual forward motion, is an incredible source of inspiration that will keep you going, pushing you to strive for more, to be more, and to do more. Progress, after all, is the heartbeat of success. But here's where happiness begins making progressive progress. You don't have to arrive all at once. You don't have to have it immediately. But as long as you're making progress, as long as progress is part of your experience now, it is a fantastic source of inspiration. I jotted this down. Unhappiness is simply the lack of progress toward a preset goal. If you're not making progress, see, that's when unhappiness sets in. Now, here's the last source of inspiration, and that is achieving. When you finally arrive at that goal you set, whether it's I want to have this much experience or I want to be able to do this by 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 6 months from now, and then that time passes. And there you are. You've done it. The months have passed, and now you possess what you once only hoped for. The skill you've worked on is no longer just a raw ability. It's refined, polished, unique, and effective. That feeling is pure magic. Achieving is an incredible source of inspiration. It's like standing at the summit of a mountain you've been climbing for what felt like forever. You look back and see every step, every stumble, every decision, every plan, every single action that got you here. But here's the interesting thing. When you achieve what you set out to do, when you've made the decision, laid out the plans, got started, and made the progress when you finally achieve, it's not much more inspiring than when you first decided to go for it. It's a different kind of inspiration. It's a different feeling altogether. Achieving brings a sense of fulfillment, a moment of reflection, and a realization of your growth. It's the satisfaction of knowing that you've arrived at one destination on a journey that has many more stops. You know you've got more objectives to tackle, more places to go, more things to do, and more of yourself to uncover and become. But at least you've got this one. You've checked this box. You've made this dream a reality. That's something no one can take away from you. I remember when I had the dream to do training, to teach, to hold seminars. I wanted to stand on a stage and have the kind of impact that would leave people changed. I watched those who could speak with such eloquence, who could use language like a master painter uses a brush, mixing words with emotion, heart, soul, and experience. They could weave a tapestry of ideas that reached not just the ears, but the hearts and minds of their audience. It was like watching a magician perform, but instead of tricks, it was with the power of words and presence. I thought to myself, if I could possibly do that, if I could reach people in that way, it would be the greatest feeling in the world. For me, there's probably no greater impact you can have on a person or an audience than the ability to communicate. Truly communicate a message, a feeling, a belief. To put into words what's in your heart and soul, driven by passion and colored with personal experience, and deliver it in a way that stirs someone's imagination or moves them to action that's powerful. To be able to do that, to stand in front of people and speak your truth with conviction, to see the light go on in someone's eyes when they get it, that's the kind of achievement that fills you up. It's one of the most incredible impacts you can have. So when you achieve, when you finally get there, when you become that person you've been working to become, when you accomplish that goal you've been chasing, it's not just about checking off a box on your list. It's about knowing you've made something of yourself, that you've used your talents, your time, your energy to bring something into the world. And that, my friends, is a whole different kind of inspiration. But remember, every achievement stands on the foundation of all that came before it. The inspiration of deciding, choosing to go after something bigger. The inspiration of planning, laying out the roadmap to your goal. The inspiration of beginning taking that first step into the unknown. And the inspiration of progressing, moving forward, growing, learning, adjusting. All these moments, all these sources of inspiration build up to that ultimate moment of achieving. And once you get there, once you achieve, you don't just sit back and rest on your laurels. No, you set your sights on the next mountain, the next mountain, the next goal, the next version of you that's waiting to be discovered. Because achievement isn't the end. It's just another step in the journey of becoming all you can be. So embrace that achievement, celebrate it, let it inspire you, not just because you've made it, but because it proves what's possible. It proves that with the right mindset, the right plan, the willingness to start, and the determination to keep progressing, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And that, my friends, is the most incredible inspiration of all.